What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with my last prediction of the year, which I usually never do. But people wanted it and people wanted to see it, so I say, you know what? I will actually predict who I will pick who will win the executive of the year. And this is something new this year. I'm going to give you five guys that I think will be in the discussion to win it. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you who I'm going to pick. It's not in an order besides the last person that I pick. And at the end of the day, it's all fun, and we should enjoy this. One of them is James Jones, bringing in Chris Paul was huge because they already got off to a 5-2 start. I told a lot of people that I was higher on the Suns than a lot of other people, not just because they finished very well in the bubble and basically traded nothing for Chris Paul, who was already a guy that led a team to a top four team in the West with the Thunder and was able to help them get to a game 7 against the Rockets, which actually went down to the wire, and they probably could have even made it to the second round, even though you thought that wouldn't even happen coming into the season. A lot of people respected the Thunder. A lot of people thought they could make it, but nobody seen them being in the top 5 in the Western Conference when the season ended, and that's including the bubble. And then you go to a team with Phoenix who missed DeAndre Ayton majority of the year and was able to go on a run that could have got them into the playoffs. They're hungry. They're guys that put in a lot of work. They continue to get better every year, and they just needed that extra umph and that extra push to compete with other teams in the league. And Chris Paul gives them a guy that can pass and score whenever he wants to, and he's clutch. And he can take over games and put defenses in bad pick your poison situations. So just getting Chris Paul alone, I like this. Some of the other acquisitions, bringing back Dario Saric, drafting Jalen Smith, even though people thought it was too high, they needed a guy like him. They brought in Frank Kaminsky too to give them that size and that floor spacing at the 5 to give them more depth at that position. Plus, small other little things that they did. And on top of that, the season not over. This is a team that I predicted to finish within the top 6 in the West because I do feel like some teams got worse, some teams got better, and some teams are healthier than they was last year. So I couldn't put Phoenix too high, but I do like their upside as they continue to develop and continue to grow as a team. They're going to be dangerous, and it really does depend on their young guys, Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker and the Cameron Paynes. Those guys going to have to carry their weight and do their thing, not only in the regular season, but also in the postseason, so they can lock up a playoff spot because the play-in will be available. And you don't want to be a team playing in. You want to be a team solidifying yourself as a great team and being able to do that through the whole season so you can build your confidence and your camaraderie together and just go wreck ship in the playoffs. So I like what they have done so far. I was questioning James Jones a little bit, but it all makes sense now. And now we just gonna see what they do, if they can stay healthy and what they do in the playoffs. Number 4, Sam Presti. I feel like Sam Presti has done a fantastic job gaining a lot of assets while also getting a new coach. They lost Billy Donovan. He wanted to go in a different direction because they was going to gut their roster. He was able to get value off guys like Steven Adams. He was able to get value off guys like Schroeder. And those guys was getting ready to become, out of their contracts anyway. You knew they didn't want to stay in Oklahoma City, especially after they got rid of Chris Paul. It was clear that they only had one thing to do, and that was rebuild. And even though I watched the Thunder, they just don't have enough talent to really be good. They do have a lot of young guys that's interesting. They do have a team that plays well together, even though they just don't have the shooting and the shot creation. They'll catch up to them as the season continues to go on, and teams game plan against them. But to be able to collect as many first round picks as he has done, that's a tough thing to do, especially when you don't have a superstar outside of Chris Paul, who's more of an all-star caliber player, not superstar anymore. And to be able to gather all these assets from the people that they had, including this year, I think you have to definitely put Sam Presti in that conversation while also having some guys that they can see what they have. And they took some flyers on guys like Theo and Pokasevsky. Those guys have high upside in the future. That's why they were so late and mid in the draft. And those guys, if they body develop right and they knowledge and IQ gets higher, they have skills and talent. They just have to get the experience and the growth, and then they could be pretty solid to starting caliber players in the future. And those were part of the draft this year, so they count. And on top of that, they can flip these picks into other players, flip these picks into guys that they might be interested in and want to take a gamble on and a flyer on. Plus, they do have some other guys that they can let go, and that can help Sam Presti even be more better, even later this season to give him a higher chance of being executive of the year. My personal opinion. So, they don't have much to show for on the court. But what he did was still difficult to do with aging veterans, and he still was able to get good value out of those guys. And they was in contract years where they could have left anyway, like Danilo did. So to me, I think Sam Presti did very well for what he had and turned it into a hope and a future that they can be great again, and try to build this team up again in the future. Lawrence Frank, I liked the Serge Ibaka pickup. Luke Kennard, I didn't really wasn't as high on because they have a lot of guys just like him. They also re-signed Marcus Moore. They re-signed to Morris. They also was able to lock up Paul George, who has been playing fantastic outside of the Dallas game. He looks like a top 10 player again, defensively, offensively. He's letting it fly from all over the court, and he's really just feeling himself and really showing that Kawhi Leonard may have made the right decision to stay with him in general. And if he can get Kawhi Leonard to opt out and extend again, he's going to be in the conversation again for executive general manager of the year. But he put great spacing and great role players around his team. He let go of Doc Rivers, which was a lot of people blamed him for playing Montrez too much and using him too much and making some coaching errors and say, you know what, we're going to let him go and we're going to give it to Ty Lue. And they're playing a lot better together. But it is the regular season. We still have to see what the Clippers do in the postseason because that's what they're going to be judged by. Nobody questioned their talent. Nobody questions what they're able to do as they finish second in the East, and it was up 3-1 against Denver. Now it's just about can Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, one of the top three, top two duos in the league, lead them to a title. And if they can't, this whole thing might be a failure. If they do, then it can be a success, and then it's just about can they win multiple. So we should see on that. To Travis Schlenk, I feel like he did a fantastic job putting the right type of pieces around Trae Young, who has already played at an all-star caliber level last year, and he's off to a pretty decent start this year. You putting in wings like Solomon Hill, Bogdanovich, and Danilo, giving them more floor space and more shooting, and guys that can defend and play multiple positions, while also putting in guys like Rajon Rondo and Chris Dunn, who add more defensive and more depth at that point guard position, which they've been needing for years. So he didn't bring in a superstar, but he brought in guys that complement Trae Young very well on the offensive end. And it was already a tough team to defend last year. They just didn't have enough consistency with outside shooting, and I feel like Travis brought that in. One of the biggest flaws with this team still is their defense, and if they can't figure that out, they're going to struggle to be an elite team in the East. But the best part about the Hawks, a lot of these guys are tradable. They have an abundance of talent now, young and old, and they can flip some of these guys to fill some of their defensive problems. And, that allows him to have a higher chance of being the executive of the year, depending what he does, by the trade deadline with all his talent. And when it comes to talent, he probably got the best talent this offseason, but will he have a great team with it? They got off to a good start this year, significantly better than last year, but they have to keep it going, and, we'll see what they do. And I still think it's Rob Pelinka being able to re-sign Anthony Davis to not a 1-and-1, but to a 5-year contract, re-extending LeBron James for 2 more years, also bringing in guys like Harold, bringing in guys like Marcus Gasol, and making a trade for Dennis Schroeder, who gave them a guy that can handle and score and play well with LeBron James, as he's a good catch and shoot guy, but also can penetrate and probe and get to the basket and put a lot of pressure on the defense. And also, bringing Will Pope and those other guys back and saying, you know what, we're going to also resign, well, extend Kyle Kuzma, who has been a part of this team for years and has been a good piece for them, and other resigns. So to me, Rob Pelinka got the two best players. I think Anthony Davis, LeBron are two top five players. They was able to re-sign both to extensions, and they was also able to put a great team around them. They went with more offense, lost a lot of defense, but it's going to make them tougher to beat because that was one of their main problems last year. As games slow down, they just didn't have enough shot creators, and that's not going to be a problem this year. Plus, their defense should be decent enough to where they should be within the top seven. And if that's the case, you have a better offense while still having a great defense, you should be able to win a lot of games. So, other than that, I think Rob Pelinka is probably going to be executive of the year this year, and he should be. If not, the only reason why he loses it if these guys make more moves before the trade deadline and also the buyouts and increase their chances of winning a title over the Lakers, then you have to consider them. But all of these guys are going to be in the discussion. I just think Rob Pelinka did the best job, and that's why I have him as the winner, for my personal opinion. Other than that, check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. You can pick hats and shirts. You can customize them any way you want them to be. You can message me and I can get it shipped out to you. Not only that, you can buy merchandise exclusively on my spread shirt. That will also be in the description and comment section below. If you're new to the channel, I upload videos every single day throughout the whole year. So if you love breakdowns of players, legends, rookies, summer league coverage, draft coverage, free agency talks, trade deadline, playoff prediction, top 10 lists, season previews, and just discussions about random topics like this, this is the channel for you, as I offer that each and every day. I have over 2,000 videos for you to watch and pick from. And if you like this video, you want to check out more, feel free to do it. Also comment. I read every comment, so feel free to let me know what you guys think. Also, like and share. If you don't want to buy no merchandise, liking and sharing allows the channel to be reached by more people. The more people that see it, the more people it reach, the more this channel can grow. Other than that, we getting off to another week. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy your day. Stay blessed up. And Quinn Wade, basketball analysis. I'm signing out. Enjoy the rest of y'all day.